Hi, listeners, and welcome to my Holland Update. I'm Marianne Manderfield, Public Information Coordinator for the city, and today our guest is City Manager Keith Van Beek. Welcome, Keith.
It's good to be here, Marianne.
It's been a while since we've talked, and today we're talking about economic development in the community. Coming out of the pandemic, it seems there's a real vibrancy in Holland.
Yeah, we're really excited right now. There is, I think, a lot of positive things happening here in Holland, specifically with a lot of projects being built or kind of in the planning stages, proposed stages, and what I'll always call is kind of a tire kicking stage of, where we know that there's questions at City Hall or we hear of potential projects that are kind of being talked about in the community. So all of those things are happening kind of at the same time right now. It's really, really exciting.
It is, and just driving around, there's all kinds of construction on a wide variety of projects.
Yeah, two that I get asked about a lot are right on the River Avenue corridor downtown. You've got the GDK Rest Haven project that's really looking pretty close to completion. That building looks just absolutely gorgeous on the corner of River and 9th. And then the towers on River, kind of between 6th and 7th on River is really gaining steam and definitely getting up out of the ground. And those are just two downtown examples.
Sure.
Our industrial sector is really going strong. We have a lot of really cool housing projects going in. The only sector that's maybe just a little bit slower right now and uncertain is the commercial office sector.
Sure. I think that's probably global or nationwide anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a trend that we're seeing, but the fact that we have all of those other projects going in here in Holland is definitely not a trend that every community is seeing, so we're excited.
Well, in talking about economic development, what are some of the steps that the city takes to advance that?
Yeah, we've had conversations with council over the last several years, and we actually kind of boiled that down to 4 different things that we can do.
Okay.
Plan, zone, incent, and abate. And I won't teach a graduate level class or anything on all of those, but really, the planning and zoning function, when we redid our Unified Development Ordinance, our UDO, really talked about, okay, what are we looking at and how do we want to say we want our community to develop and in many cases redevelop when we take a look at corridors that maybe could be ideal for new mixed use type of opportunities.
Sure.
So those would be plan and zone type ideas. And then we definitely can incent things. And we really, I think of that mostly as where can we put public infrastructure that private investment wants to follow. And I think you definitely see a lot of that, like, for example, downtown, where some of the new things that we're putting in the window on the waterfront, parks or new roads or things that people really want to be around, public investment incents good private investment. And then the final thing is abating, and those are more the typical, we call them the Public Act PA 198 programs, where if industries want to build new or expand their current industries, they have the ability to go through us and access state programs where they only pay, for example, 50% of the taxes on new buildings that they put up for a period of time.
And we've had a few of those come through.
Yeah, you look back years ago when the state tax system was different. It was pretty common for a city like Holland to have 4, 5, 6 PA 198s just about at every council meeting.
Oh, wow.
And now we don't have that many.
No.
right?
Right.
But we certainly have still a steady stream of companies, primarily that are already here and are expanding their footprint. And those are always great programs to do and great signs for our local economy.
Oh, sure, because it's there furthering their commitment to continue to stay in Holland.
You know, the other thing you asked, Marianne, about what the city does is we really appreciate with planning and zoning and talking with companies is we want to have early conversations with those groups or those individuals that are thinking about doing something. We want to be a service-oriented government where if they're thinking about doing an expansion but really don't know where to start, part of the economic development focus and our planning focus on our third floor is really to help people work through systems maybe that they're not familiar with, working through every day, and really help them feel comfortable with that process and invest in such a way that's not only good for them but also good for the larger community.
Sure. And part of the whole UDO process was to help streamline that.
Absolutely.
Correct.
The UDO, the unified portion of that is, okay, you might know this ordinance over here,
Right.
but, we didn't tell you. You also had to worry about the stormwater ordinance. And what we did is really have a progressive system right now in the UDO where it's easy to use and it integrates all of those different requirements when you're taking a look at doing a development, and we think it's going to result in better outcomes for everyone.
When you think of economic development, is there something that comes to mind that might surprise people that the role of the city plays in the overall impact to the community?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think something that I do tell people sometimes is just remind them that the city doesn't drive economic development.
Sure.
Ultimately, when you think of economic development, someone is investing their money, whether it be a private individual or a small property owner, business owner, or a larger corporation. They're making a choice to invest in the city or, in the larger Holland Zeeland area.
Sure.
And while we think at the city we have impacts on that and we want to definitely be a place that people choose to invest, ultimately we're secondary to the choice of the individual or the corporation to make that investment in the first place.
They're choosing to decide where they want to build, where they want to put that development or invest their monies.
Exactly. And, that's a competitive process.
Oh, sure.
So we're always talking about that people could make that decision to invest anywhere. And now as we more and more talk about being part of a global economy, that's not just elsewhere in Michigan or elsewhere in the United States. That's anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
So it really drives home the point even more that we believe that our primary role here at the city is to make a great community, make great spaces, and really provide great services. And that creates an overall environment that people want to live in and work in and invest in.
Goes full circle.
It does. It's really an integrated set of things that we do, whether it be parks and recreation, quality of life type things, or our transportation department, making sure we have good roads. It's all of it put together
right.
really creates that quality of life and space that people want to be.
When we think of partnerships and the public-private partnerships, that's a key component for a robust economic development. Can you share a few of those examples how those partnerships could benefit the community?
Yeah, the biggest example is Lakeshore Advantage. Lakeshore Advantage is our regional economic development entity that was created on the basis of public-private partnerships. It's supported financially and in other ways by businesses, but also by government. And City of Holland is a partner both in effort but also in money, where we ask Lakeshore Advantage to really represent the larger region of Ottawa and Allegan County in economic development efforts.
Okay.
And that means everything from doing larger things like marketing this region to the larger world and nation, so that we attract maybe large projects. But also, I think, the kind of the rubber meets the road type of work every day that they do is that they become the place for local companies that maybe are looking at expanding or maybe looking at, hey, we need specific training for a new product or a line that we're putting out there. And Lakeshore Advantage then is an expert in all of those things, and I think serves our region much better in that public-private partnership than if just the city tried to do that alone.
The breadth of what they do is quite large. You just explained it all, from marketing on a global scale to helping entrepreneurs in the local community get their foot in the door, get their ideas off the ground.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see Lakeshore Advantage do such a great job. And they do. They have experts in all of those different fields, including, you talked about entrepreneurs. They have Surge. It's a specialized program that's looking at really a cornerstone of what Holland has always had, which is someone with a great idea that grew that idea in their garage, and it turned into be, a billion-dollar industry.
Right. There's a few of those here.
There are absolutely a few of those here, and we want to make sure that we're the place that next big idea could, be a cornerstone of our economy 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now.
And then we've got a partnership with Outdoor Discovery as well.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's another great example. When I talked about, there's a saying out there right now that now more so than ever, talent loves space. And I've heard it described, and I totally agree with it, where, the younger generations, the talented men and women coming out of high school and in college, if they choose that, quite often they're choosing where to live, and then they'll find what they're going to do and who they're going to work for after they've chosen where they want to live. And that wasn't always the story in my generation or generations prior, right? You figured out what you were going to do for a job, and that's where you were, and then you made your life around where your job was.
Right.
Outdoor Discovery Network is a great example of an entity that we love to partner with that really is about making this Holland Zeeland location just a fantastic place for quality of life. So they work on water quality initiatives, Project Clarity in Lake Makatawa. The most recent example is in Window on the Waterfront. They were a fantastic partner and put in the nature-based playscape right in Window on the Waterfront. And we see every day now how that is an attraction to kids and families, and quite frankly, all the people that live, around that area that come and love to watch the kids play. And it makes Window on the Waterfront a more vibrant place, and by extension, it makes downtown and Holland a more vibrant place. And I think that's just another great example of how partnerships really help us be an attractive place to live and invest.
So if you had three top things that attribute to a strong economic development growth for the city, what would you say those are?
Yeah, first I would always say the people of this community. Not only just for what they're able to do, because for economic development, it's about jobs and talent. And it's just the spirit and the work ethic of the people in this community. So that's number one. I think we've had good conversations in this interview about place and the quality of life that this region offers. And I think we just have a competitive advantage over other locations with those types of things. And then I just have to brag on the city a little bit here. It is a city program here. I just think we offer really good city services. So taking care of water and sewer and electric from the BPW, but taking care of roads and having parks and a well-maintained downtown. You know, we think the city services we provide are absolutely a key part of the quality of life and the space that hopefully incents people to invest their money here.
And I think it shows. I mean, we've got, as we kind of started out, we've got a lot of vibrancy happening here that people can see within the construction. There's a lot that's being talked about and a lot that's happening. And coming off we're on the downward trend, it seems, of the pandemic. So it's an exciting time for Holland. It really is.
It is. It's busy, and, you know, we understand, too, that change and kind of investment sometimes can be a little scary.
Sure.
But I think in that it's a great time for Holland, and we're excited to watch where it takes us and also very much do this growth and this investment well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Keith. Appreciate your time again. And until next time, this has been My Holland Update.